Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you two amazing short puzzles with the knight. And if you stick around till the end, you'll see a third bonus puzzle. So in this position, it is white to move. The black pawns are going down the board, both of which are threatening to promote. Your job is to find the way to win for white. I'll give you a hint. It is checkmate in 3 moves. You can do mate in longer, but mate in 3 is the most efficient. And just take a moment and see if you can figure it out with the hint I gave about the knight. Okay, while you're thinking about that, let me quickly encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Half of the income that I earn on this channel goes directly to charity, so every like, every subscriber helps me out so much. Okay, so you might look at this and go, okay, I have this queen here, dangerous move here, but it will be captured because remember, the pawns are going down the board. So you might think, I can give a check, something like this. The king can jump in, but there's not really a good thing to do here because remember, you can't, these pawns are going down the board. They're threatening to promote. So you can't really make a quiet move. That would promote with check. Okay, so what kind of thing do you think? Well, it's always good in puzzles to look for forcing moves. So checks, captures, attacks, those are the kinds of things. So what is the most forcing move in this position? What do I mean by most forcing? Well, a move that you make where your opponent's response is only one. They can only do one thing. Well, here's one, right? If I make this move check, right? If I just play a silly move like this, just for an example, they have 2 sensible responses. They can take it or they can move, right? 2 things they can do. So that's quite forcing. Even more forcing would be queen right here, right? They only have 1 response. They have to take it. That's more forcing than the other one. That's what I mean by the word forcing. Okay, well, the whole point of this, and if you don't see it, I'm going to share the answer now. The whole point is you can play queen to A1. Look at that crazy move. Queen A1. That is as forcing as it gets because the king has to take on A1. And now the whole point of this is the king is kind of blocked in by its own pawn. And if you could just place a knight right here, they would only have 1 out square. Actually, in this case, 2 out squares. But they would only have these squares to run to. My point being, white's on move right now. They can play king c2. And what does that mean? That means that no matter what they do next, they promote. This is mate on the spot. So this whole mate in 3 kicks off with the forcing move, queen a1. After capturing, you play the nice king c2, blocking the king in. They promote to anything else, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be checkmate. Okay, how'd you do in that first one? Let me know in the comments. I'm excited to hear what people think. Okay, what about the second one here? So this second one is a similar theme. You get 2 knights, kind of interesting looking. This king is nearly stalemated, right? These squares can't go to. This one you can. And this pawn is going down the board. Try to see if you can find the answer to this one. It's quite complicated. Trying to show them getting complicated as I go. Okay, so if you haven't given it a second, I'm going to start talking about the answer here. So the way I thought about it is, and I'm not going to show you the answer at this moment, I'm going to go through my thoughts first. I thought like knight e3, maybe try to force the king this way, and try to, something like this is what I had in mind, like forcing the king back. And I wanted to give this pawn like away, something like this, but it doesn't actually work because no matter what I do, like taking here, this is just a draw because king here, king here, and it's not going to be a win. So you have to be very careful about how you want to move these knights. So you might say, well, can I move like my knight here? Well, be careful because you're really limiting the king's squares. The king only has 1 square right now. And what are you going to do here? What's the plan? If you take this, you can't force a checkmate with 2 knights and a king against a lone king. Right? This is a draw. They stay in the corner, and although this looks like checkmate, it's not because they always have a square. Unfortunately, I think it's called one of the greatest tragedies in chess, right? 2 knights can't force mate. 6 points of material. Okay. So what is the answer here? How do I get there? Well, remember, The whole theme that I was showing to begin with was when the king was blocked in by their own pawn. That's a bit of a hint for you. Take a second now, if you haven't gotten it, see if that hint helps you. Well, the reason I said that is right now, this king has only one move, g1, right? Is there a way you can block off the g1 square with your knight? Well, the answer is yes. You could play something like this, right? Knight here. But if you do that, what happens? Well, now the king has nowhere to go and this pawn can't move. So that would be stalemate, right? So what if you could do that same idea of blocking off g1, but give them a move? Okay, here's the answer now. Knight h3. Now what is this doing? This stalemates the king entirely, which means they are forced to capture. And now you can play king f2. And this king cannot move, which means you only have this pawn to move, and it's checkmate again. Knight g3. Hopefully you're getting better at these now that you've seen a couple. So again, really quickly, here, the whole point, I make this king f2 move, blocking off these squares, that one with the knight, and then after they move, checkmate. Pretty sweet, right? Okay, now for the bonus puzzle of the day. Let's see if you can do it. So the last puzzle of the day is this one. You've maybe seen it before. It's a really fun one. I just want to throw it at the end of the video because I think it's kind of cool. This one is white to move. The black pawns are, of course, look at the coordinates, going down the board. So right now, your knight's being threatened. And it's white to move and win. If you've seen this one before, you have to see it again. It's so cool. If you've never seen it, this might be one of those cool puzzles that changes the way you see the pieces. Okay, well, right now, if you move the king anywhere, it's stalemate. Right? I make this move. This pawn cannot capture this knight because the pawn is pinned through the bishop. Okay, so what am I actually saying here? Well, can I move the knight? Sure, I can. After this move, what does this do? Well, you'll surely still win this if you're like a master level player and you can checkmate with the bishop and knight. But a lot of people cannot do that. I can't even really do that. I've tried. I still have to get better at that. Instead, there is a clean way to win this. What is the clean way? Well, the fancy move. Are you ready for it? The fancy move is bishop to f6. Look at that move. That's like a super zugzwang move. So you're giving them only one option. That only option is to take your bishop. Right? Notice they cannot take still. They can't take here because that would put them in check. They have to take your bishop. Then you make the very simple move. Very simple move. King to f8. And then what? They play here, and that's mate. Notice you can't play king f7 because if you do, well, you can. It's still be mate, but it'll take longer. They play this move, you have to then go back, and then they can play this. If you want to kind of toy with them, you can. I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's kind of mean. Just play chess. Don't be mean. Okay, that's it. Those are the cool puzzles. 3 puzzles. Let me know if you got all 3. They're a lot of fun. Hopefully you did. Which one, in your opinion, was the hardest? I'd love to hear back from you and just, what you think. I love hearing back from the community. I love hearing the opinions of all of the people in the comments. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.